So within the product types, is there a wide variance in what we're seeing in terms of vacancy by size?
Across the top five major Midwestern metros by the size the size of industrial inventory, large bay vacancy rates right now are at about 7%, and they peaked at about 8.5%. So that's above 200,000 square foot properties. The mid bay vacancy rate is at about 5% right now, so meaningfully lower. And small bay is only at around 3%. So there's really a bit of a mismatch right now in terms of demand for large properties versus small properties. And I think there's a number of interesting trends driving that disparity. Most of the major new construction has heavily weighted towards very large property sizes. Most of the new properties are big, tall ceiling properties. You can store a lot of goods in, and you can consolidate a lot of your operations in. The challenge, though, is you have to be a tenant of a certain size in order to need a 500,000 square foot warehouse. And so that kind of limits your demand base for that particular type of space. For smaller properties, small bays, they may be a little bit older on average. They might not have those high ceilings. They might not have all the modern amenities, but in absolute dollar amounts, it doesn't cost as much to lease them. So you have a broader perspective tenant pool to pull from. And in addition to this mismatch between your tenant pool over the last, I'd say, year or so, especially as some of the uncertainty around trade policy has been introduced, which impacts where exactly we're going to need all of these transportation nodes across the country, you've had a lot of big industrial tenants kind of in this wait and see holding pattern. And as a result, they've either been consolidating some of their options or consolidating some of their operations into fewer buildings, or just deciding to hold off on those major leasing decisions. You know, a 500,000 square foot warehouse costs a lot to lease. And if that's a big financial decision and you don't exactly know where your operations are going to be needed in the next 3 to 4 years, you're more likely to press pause. And as a result of this particular dynamic, we actually saw net absorption for industrial space across the country fall in the second quarter of 2025 for the first time in 15 years, which just means that more space was vacated than was leased. So you have all of these different dynamics impacting the variability between vacancy rates in small and big boxes.